Hi everybody, it's that time of the year. We've got a little spooky element here, and we have an eyeball, which I think you've already seen. It's not just an eyeball, of course. As you know, I'm light for chocolate orange covers. It is a Terry's chocolate orange cover. Of course, you can use an apple, you can use another shape that is this size. You could just sort of have it as an eyeball stuffed on the side, whatever you want to do with it. But here it is. It is so simple. Maybe faffing about a little bit with popping these on, but again, they're not a difficult thing to do. So this is the eyeball we're going to make today. So I'm just going to pop the eyeball there. These are the colours we have. Of course, you can change the colour of the eye. I do think obviously you need the black. I suppose you could do something odd like bright shiny green eye, or I don't know, whatever you want. It could be an alien eye. And I think you need white, and I've chosen the red. You could have just done it plain white. I just thought it, so add a little bit of gore in there if that's what you're looking for. So I have my white, I have the red, I have black, and I've chosen blue. I wanted a green, but I didn't have a green that I really liked. I wanted more of a fluorescent green. But those are the colours we're going to use on here. So it's up to you what you use. They are double knit yarns. They're just a basic yarn. I am using a 3.5mm hook. I have my scissors and I have my faithful needles on my needle minder there. So we're just going to get straight into it. I say it could not be simpler. So we're going to start with the black. The only problem with the black is it is so hard to see. So it might be worth listening to me sort of as I go first. I mean, if you've done the videos before with me, or you've done any other amigurumi videos, you're going to know what you are doing. But if you are a beginner, black is going to be really hard to see. When we get onto the other colours, you'll be okay. I have a light on me here, and I've got a light, natural light coming in, but I still can't promise that you're going to see it that well. So I'm going to take it out of the orange. And as you can see, this is what we're making. So let's get going. We're going to start with a slip knot. We're going to pop it on our hook, and we're going to pull it not too tight because we need to be able to move it along there. Move the yarn over there, that might help a little bit. We're going to make 2 chain. See if I can bring it a bit closer. I don't know whether that would help. How's that? I don't want to blur it. If I go too close, it blurs. And into that first chain, we're going to do 6 double crochets. So I have 1, 2, I'll go a bit slower on the black, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that is 6 double crochets all into that first chain. Remember, I'm using a UK terminology, so our DC is our double crochet. We're now going to do 2 double crochets into each of the 6. So count back if you're not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It is really hard, I admit, to see it with the black. Even for me to see it with all this light on, it is difficult. So 2 in each. So we have 1, 2 in the same stitch there. That's number 1. We have 2 stitches in number 2. We have 2 stitches in number 3. It's quite fluffy, this yarn, actually. I can see all the bits now. I've got the light on it as well. That was 3. This is 2 stitches in number 4. 2 stitches in number 5. And we've just got 1 more to go. 2 stitches in number 6. So we've now done 2 in each of the 6, so obviously we get 12. I'm just tightening up that slip knot there. So we can see the eye forming, but it needs to be bigger than that. So we are now going to do another 2 into each one. So we have 12 at the moment, so we're going to end up with 24. So that's my first one. So off we go. That's 2 in the first one. 2 in the second. If you've got a light, you sort of stretch it a bit, you can actually see where the holes are. So that's our third one for 2. Our fourth one for 2 stitches. So they're all 2 stitches. Number 5 for 2. And number 6 for 2. Number 7. Over halfway now. 8, 9, Sometimes helps if you've got something light underneath as well. And 10. And number 11. Or not, there we go, that's number 11. And that is number 12. So we have the black part out of the way. Check, can you see? It's roughly there. You can make these sections larger or smaller or mix them up. I have seen one which was quite a nice idea. They did red round here as well, so it made it look like the eye was sore. It's a bit horrible really, but you know, it's about that little bit of gore. Right, I'm going to cut that yarn off. We can move that yarn out of the way and you might be able to see the rest of the yarn a little bit easier. That's why another reason I've gone for a paler blue, to be honest, so it really stands out. I quite like it in blue, to be honest. I think you need a contrast, but I had thought about sort of a really sort of fluorescent green or something like that. Now I've been having a practice at some different joins here because it's never been my favourite area, joining yarn. If you have a fail-proof way that works for you, do it. Don't do what I'm doing. But it's just one I tried that I saw and I thought, well, actually, you know, that's not bad. So we have our 24 stitches now. Now, before I bring this in, I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next one. So remember, slip stitch, I'll start again. So it goes in, you pull your yarn through, and then you just pull it through again. Try not to split it like I've just done. Let me make sure I haven't got it split, because then that would make it messy for the join. So that is how it was done. Then they went back into, if I can find it, where is it? It's the only problem again because of the colour of yarn we are using. There it goes. We're going to go back in that same one. We're going to grab the new colour and pull it through and then pull it through. Now tighten up the dark yarn at the back so it sort of doesn't show. And what we're going to do into this space directly below, I'm going to do a chain, and directly below I'm going to do, because I need an increase anyway on this row, I'm going to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So I've got a 1 and I've got a 2. Now you may need to tighten these up at some point. I'll do that join again later, but if you've got a better way of doing it, you just do the way you find. I didn't 100% like it on this one, but we'll see how it goes, because I think I've had a little bit of practice since then to make it a little bit nicer. So as I say, I've just done 2 in 1 where the join is, and we'll need to tighten that up after so you don't see the black on the blue. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. So we have 1, 2 and 3. Okay, let's say if you stretch it, you can see the holes. Can you see? I'm hoping you can see the holes when you stretch it out a little bit. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the next one, same hole, 1, 2, and then you're going to do 1, 2 and 3, just a 1 double crochet in each. 1, 2 and 3. You're going to do that again, 2 in the next one, 1, 2, 1 in the next 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2 in the next one, 1, 2, 1 in the next 3, 1, 2 and 3. So we're going to repeat again, 2 in the next one, 1 in the next 3. We have 1, 2 and 3. This should be enough room for 1 more, as long as my counting was okay there. It looks as if it might be. 2 in the 1 and 1 in the 3. 1, 2 and 3. I'm inclined not to count, I think, because I've done so much amigurumi, you sort of guess. Usually it works, but you should really count. You really should. We're now going to do just a 1 double crochet round. So you can see where that blue one is. Remember, we're doing amigurumi, so it is a spiral system. It's not a stop-start system, even though we have a change of yarn. So I'm going to go into that first one, which is always tricky to get into, and I'm going to pull it through. I know what we could have done with. We could have done with a stitch marker. I tell you what we'll do. We'll pinch a little bit. I did this last time, didn't I? Pinch a bit of that red. Now you can sort of see very slightly there's a dint where you've changed yarn, which we could use that, I suppose, but we'll put a stitch marker in. It does help a little bit, doesn't it? Doop. I really need to get my stitch markers made up for the site. I've got some little Octopudding charms that I'm going to be turning into stitch markers, so quite pleased about them, but I had to get a new set of pliers, so I've got to sort it out. Right, so off we go. 1 double crochet into every single stitch, so every single double crochet. At the moment that means we should have 30 stitches if you are wanting to count. I will say, as usual, if I'm going a little bit too fast, apologies for that, but I do realise I am working for different levels. I do believe a beginner could have a really good go at this and make a really good job of it. But if I am going a little bit fast, don't forget you can slow me down in the settings. But I am planning on getting a pattern out on my site, which will be just one of my penny patterns. But to be honest, you might not even need a pattern for this. So it's just 1 double crochet into every stitch. I think the hardest bit is knowing where the colour changes are, but you can make them up. You don't have to have the colour changes where I've got. Say you could make a bigger pupil, you could make the iris colour larger, you could make it variegated, you can make it sparkly, you could do all sorts. You could put more red in the actual eyeball bit. So there's loads of different things you could do, so you can have a good play around with it. So that is 1 round. Okay, we're going to have another increase round, which is going to increase by 6 stitches, which will give us 36. I'm still staying with the blue, so we're going to do 2 in the first one and then 1 in the corresponding 4. So I'll do the first couple slow, then I will speed up a bit. So we have a 2 in 1 stitch, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4 individual stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 2 in the next one, 1 and 2, 1 in the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 in the next one, 1, 2, then 1 in the next 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 2 in the next one, 1 in the next 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, almost there, 2 in the next one, and 1 in the next 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. I think we're looking at 1 more set. 2 in the next one, and then 1, 2, 3, and are we at that stitch marker? We are, and 4. So that is all I've done of the blue. So let's get rid of the blue now. But as I say, you could make it bigger, you could change colours, alternate sort of rounds with it. You could go absolutely crazy. Now we're going to use the white now. Now this was some I already had balled up. I've actually bought myself a new ball, which I've talked about getting, because I'm going to be going through some of this. Now this is going to roll about. Let me think. I'm going to bring the other 2 balls back because I've not got a basket for it, and I'm going to sort of place it between, and hopefully they will keep it in place. Let's run a bit of it out. So let's have a go at that sort of new changeover again. So my next stitch I'm still going to do is going to be a slip stitch. Hold it there, get the new yarn, go back in the same stitch, pull the new yarn through into a slip stitch, tighten up the blue in this particular case. So you can sort of see that it's relatively neat there. So again, we need to go in the same stitch again, and we're going to, oh, I did a chain last time, didn't I? Let's do a chain, because that holds it a bit better, doesn't it, when you do a chain? I'm all right teaching you, I'm getting it wrong. Right, so I'm going to do a chain. I'm going to tighten them back up because they've gone loose now, and in that same space I'm going to do a double crochet. Let me just check I've not done an increase. No, there's no more increases, so it's just a double crochet. That looks small, but it will stretch. So 1 double crochet into that space, and then 1 double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. This is where you do need your stitch marker, really. I'm speeding up here. When I am doing just a double crochet round, I'll tell you in advance. And if you want to pause me while you do your round at your speed, please do. I think I'd do that if I was watching somebody. I'd sort of listen and think, oh, hang on, I'll do that at my speed. And then come back to you in a second. I think that's usually the easiest way of doing it. I'm all right doing sort of Halloweeny sort of spooky things, but I really do need to start thinking about Christmas. I've got some ideas written down. I know I've done one item, but time is going quite quickly. And I know a lot of people are preparing for Christmas now. Just in case, I mean, here in the UK, there are rumours about a second lockdown and things are starting to change a little bit again because the virus deaths are not going up, but the actual spread of the virus is going up. And people are getting a little bit worried, I think. Some are worried whether, you know, we'll not have anything at Christmas. But again, it depends what you feel Christmas is about, doesn't it? But a little bit of preparation in advance doesn't hurt anyway, so that is what I'm going to be doing. Right, so I'm round, so the next one's going to be in the top of that one, so we're going to be completely spiral now, and you are going to be doing another 9 rounds. I have my pen and I have my paper here. I always write this left-handed, so it looks really sort of odd, and off we go. And we're just going to keep... First one's such a nightmare to get into. It makes quite a neat join, but that is quite hard to get into. There we are, we're in. But look, that's quite nice, isn't it? Look how neat that those joins are. Sticks out a little bit, but at least a little bit flatter. So off we go. 9 more rounds. Now, this is the point I always say. It will very much depend on your tension. If you are a little bit looser, you may get to the bottom of that orange with the yarn faster than somebody who is tighter with their work. I will also comment, like I always do when I use this particular yarn, that this is a baby glitz. It is a King Cole baby glitz. Okay, right. And it is, because it's a baby double knit, it is fractionally, only fractionally finer. I mean, I like it because of that, and I think it's a lovely yarn to work with. It's really soft. But if you are using a blank white that is just a double knit yarn, there's a chance it will be a little bit thicker. So as I say, you may get to the bottom of that chocolate orange before we get to that red part. So just keep an eye on that. Keep checking it on the orange. We're going to check this on the orange anyway. To give you an idea. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a little tight because it does stretch quite well. Right, so we're round 1. That's 1 out of 9. So we'll bring the orange in. We're not doing it yet, but you can sort of start to see how we're getting an approximate shape around. Now, we want to make sure if you're adding the red in, you can do it just white all the way down, but if you're adding that red in, you need to be stopping about here to do the red. So as I said, I get to 9 and then I can add the red, but if your stitches are looser, you may sort of have it a little bit higher. I don't know, just see how you go. Just keep trying it on that orange. The ball's trying to run away. Off we go. My fingers look a little bit weird at the moment. I know I commented my daughter to my nails the other day, which were lovely, but they're slowly picking off. But problem being is they are my own nails underneath, but they're acrylic gels over the top. And it takes the surface of your nail off. That's not great. So I don't want to pull them off. I'm trying to sort of leave them because that hand's not too bad. But it's not something I really do, mate. But I just thought, after I'd had my Mother's Day treat having my nails done, I let my daughter do them again. And I'm like, oh, it's nice. But if you're a crafter like I am, and especially if you're using other fabrics apart from the yarn, if you're using glues a lot and things like that, nails are not very practical. So I know what's going to happen. I'm going to end up sort of getting rid of all the pretty bits off them and just filing them down. I don't really mind. Right, off we go. I'll shut up about my nails, even though they look a bit weird. I hope that finger's not distracted as it's not got any stuff on it. So we're on our second round here. If anybody has any ideas or suggestions of other sort of either Halloween or holiday type objects, please let me know. I'm not saying I can do them all, but there's a chance I could have a go and see how it works, just for something a little bit different. I'm always open to suggestions. Sometimes it's nice if somebody else suggests something, because it gives you a bit of a challenge. Right, that's my second round of the 9. That ball's definitely running away. Get in there. So if you do have any ideas, or I don't know, you've seen something somewhere else that you think I might be able to do, I don't know, whatever ideas you come up with. As I say, I'm not promising I could do them, but I could look at them and hopefully make a little twist on them or do something a little bit different. But I do like a challenge. I know a lot of the commission work I do is like that. People just that I know just send me messages. Could you make? Is the question I get, and I go, okay. And sometimes I go, why did I say that? Because sometimes it's not as easy as okay. But again, it makes you think, it makes you practice new things, it makes you come out of your sort of comfort zone, and that makes your work better. So always have a go. If it doesn't work, well, it's not the end of the world, is it? It's you should take pleasure with your work. Don't get stressed about it. Crochet can be a great de-stressor if you try and relax when you're doing it. I know when you're first learning something, that's easier said than done. You end up with the sort of tight shoulders, tight neck muscles, because you sort of tense as you do the work. I've been there, I've done all that. But you do need to try and relax. Right, so that's round 3. It's starting to get dark outside. I'm doing this a lot later than I normally would do in a day, because we had lots of things going off today. Right, off I go again for our round 4. Now, I know some of you will have definitely fast forwarded now. If you're still with me, hello. Nice to sort of see that you're watching, and thank you very much for watching. But as I say, I'm doing 9 rounds, they're not rows, they're rounds, which can be a bit tedious to watch. So by all means, pause me, fast forward me, you get your 9 done, and then we'll come back together and have a look. You've probably already disappeared, so I don't know why I've said that now. I should have said it at the beginning. I'm staying in the middle, there I am. I suppose it'd be quite good as a trick-or-treat, you know. Although saying that, there's nothing wrong with fruit. I love fruit as well. I'm not a big apple fan though. I'll eat it, and I love apple pie. Who doesn't? But I wouldn't, if somebody passed me an apple, I would find that quite a chore to bother chewing. But if somebody cut it up for me and put it in front of me, then I'd eat it. So I don't tend to eat apples. I've gone off on a tangent of what I was actually thinking about. That's round 4. I was thinking the idea of a trick or treat. So obviously if you've got something nice and sweet under there, that's definitely a treat. And I was trying to think of something that you could put under here that would be a trick. And I was thinking apple, but is that really a trick? It's not really, it's still a treat, isn't it? If you can think of anything. Nothing too nasty, thank you very much. There's something, I don't know, I'm trying to think now. I'm imagining all the vegetables I can think of that are those sort of shapes, or I don't know. We'll have to have a think about that one. I tell you what, this would be quite nice. I've suddenly thought about this. As I say, my brain goes off all over the place. If you were making this as a gift, what about a bath bomb? Now, as bath bomb covers, I've never thought about that. I wonder why, because I get a lot of bath bombs. I know obviously the really fancy ones you can't do, but you can get some real plain ones that are just, I know I got one that was just peppermint. I can't speak, can I, today? That was just peppermint the other day, and oh dear, it was lovely. It made the bathroom completely sort of pepperminty smelling, and it was really, really nice. But it was just plain white and round with little peppermint bits in. And you know, I suppose if it was a gift, you'd have to sort of see what size the bath bomb was, but that would work, I think. Right, that's 5 rounds now. Let's have a look, shall we? So you can see we're getting there. And as I said though, if you're loose, there's a good chance you could be around here on your orange. If you're really tight, you might be here. So just keep an eye on that, and let's get going again. This poor chocolate orange is going to get so battered. That's if I don't end up eating it. I will try not to eat it. It's my demonstration chocolate orange. But the last one I used, it ended up melted and all sorts. It was quite tragic, bless it, by the time I'd finished doing the various chocolate oranges I was doing at that point. Now I'm going to try and keep to this one. I suppose I could use a ball or something, but that's a bit boring. Can't eat it afterwards. So I do like my chocolate, unfortunately. But there's nothing wrong with a treat every now and then. It's good for you. And that's what I'm sticking to. Right, we're on round 6 now. The wool's behaving relatively well, staying where it is. What we like for timing, 25 minutes, not bad. I think I've said before, if I'm filming, because I'm filming on my phone, if it goes over 33 minutes, it creates a second video, which means then I've got to sort of join the videos together. It's easier if it stays under, but with most crochet items, we're not going to get under 33 minutes. Right, I am around. That was number 6. We've only got 3 more rounds. We're getting there. Off we go. As I say, you could do the red further up. You could have done a red ring round the blue. However you want to mix this up. When, should I say, I get the pattern made, I will pop it on my website. I will try and get it done in the next sort of 24 hours. But I will do it for the changeover in colours I've got here. So obviously then you're going to sort of have to decide where you want the colours and where you don't want the colours. I'm hoping the light dropping outside isn't going to affect this too much. It shouldn't do, because the light I've got on's overhead and it's quite close, because it ends up getting very warm. Like at the moment it's quite warm. I suppose in the winter when I do the videos, that's great, it'll warm me up. Although it's not really warm now, but summertime it gets a little bit warm with the lamp over for what we're doing. Right, that is number 7. Yes, round 7. This is why I have to mark it down, because I forget where I am. So that's round 7. We have 2 more rounds. Shall we have a quick look on the orange, see how we're going? Yep, so about 8, 9. We'll see. I might actually end up doing another one myself. We will see. Doesn't matter how much red you have, you can do as much as you want. So this is round 8. Be lovely to hear from you if you've got any comments. Tell me if you're preparing for Christmas. I think a few people are, because I've noticed some of my videos from last year are actually being picked up on now, because there's some Christmas ones on from last year. So I'm presuming some of you are preparing for Christmas. I think the thing with things like this though, people have a tendency to think, oh, I've got 10 family members that I want to do a nice little sort of extra treat, just something silly. And they might do 10 chocolate orange covers, and that takes a while. Like I say, I know this is sort of more spooky Halloween based, but as I say, I've got some Christmas ones, and there will be some more Christmas ones coming, as I seem to have a bit of a thing about making chocolate orange covers. Or, as we've decided, possibly a bath bomb cover. I'm going to have to really try that. The only thing is, would you need your bath bomb covered? You would really, wouldn't you? Because some of them come uncovered. Perhaps you'd have to sort of wrap it in some cellophane or some, I suppose you could wrap it in tissue. Have a think about that one. Right, that's round 8. I'm going to do another one, and that means we will have got 10 rounds in white at the moment in total, and then we'll have a quick look on the orange and decide whether that is going to be enough. I mean, as I say, you will have had to judge your own crochet tension. If you find your tension is exceptionally loose, you can actually drop a crochet hook, but revise that every so often, because you will find the more you crochet, the more even your tension will become. So if you at the beginning were quite loose, and so you think, oh, I'll go down a hook size, and then in a year's time your tension has tightened up quite considerably, whatever you make isn't going to fit, so you would have to go back to the hook that's recommended on the pattern. It's the same as any pattern that you get. That's why I don't like doing garments, because I am actually sort of quite tight with my crochet, and then when I make a garment it ends up too small, or then I just get disheartened. That's why the dolls are great, because it doesn't take that much work, and if they didn't fit, it's not end of the world, you can start it again. If you're making a full garment for yourself, it's a bit frustrating. Right, so that is my 9th. Let's have a look. Let's have a think. Shall I or shan't I? Yeah, I'm gonna go for the red now. So I'm going to take that out because I want it a little bit higher, and we're going to cut that little bit off, and we're going to bring our red into the equation. If I can find the end of it. Where's the end of the red? It's there. It's there. I've got it. Right, now we're going to try and do that join again. Let's see if we can do it nicely. If I were you, I'd sew all those in as they go. I haven't done, but they do get in the way. So remember, slip knot into the next one. Slip knot, slip stitch even. Slip stitch into it. Go back into the same hole and slip stitch in the next colour. Seems a bit complicated when you've done it a couple of times, though it does flow. So pull it nice and tight. We're going to do 1 chain and 1 DC into the base. Now that chain does not count as a stitch, and off we go. Now I find on average red yarn is one of the thickest yarns, even though they're all double knits. For some reason I think red comes out thicker, so we just want double crochet into every single double crochet back to that start point. It will definitely, because I've used baby glitz and then moved on to this red, which is just, as I say, just a standard, it's a Stylecraft red yarn, it will feel thicker, but I do think it is anyway. And I'm not the only one that said that, but a few people say to me they feel the same. It's something to do with the dye, apparently. It sort of thickens the yarn, the red dye, a little bit. If you do go looking for the pattern, as I say, give me 24 hours and I will hopefully get it on there. But I suspect it's not overly complicated, this one, so I suspect you might not even need it. Yeah, I think the reason you need a pattern is perhaps you've not understood how I've described it, or I've not described it very well for some reason, which does happen sometimes. So I'm round and I'm going to go and slip stitch, well, not one, a slip stitch, I'm going to double crochet into the top of that one. So that's 1 round. Now I'm going to do 3 rounds. Now I think maybe a stitch marker might be useful here. You can sort of see. Oh, my phone's just pinged. Where's my phone just pinged? Oh, somebody's put something in a group I'm in. Right, so that was round 1. We want 2 more rounds. Off we go. We're almost there. And then it's a case of, if you want to, embroidering a few bits of detail. The ping is somebody's just put something on the Dollycon group. Now, if you're not in my sort of doll circle and you don't watch my doll videos, you'll not know what I'm on about. But the relaunching Cindy, and the pre-orders are about to come up, and I'm excited. So, and everyone else is, so they're all popping bits and pieces on, and notes and comments on it. So it's been pinging a little bit sort of the last sort of 24 hours. We're almost round for this second one, and then we've just got 1 more. In fact, we'll double check after and see. I think this will be enough. I think this is going to fit the orange quite nicely. But you could have done more rounds red if you wanted. last round. We're nearly there. And then it's the lovely job of sewing ends in and making sure they're tied off, because we need to make sure wherever we've changed our yarn colour that the two yarns are tied off nicely and tight, because otherwise that is where you'll get it to come undone. And if it is going, well, it shouldn't, you don't want it to come undone at any time, but particularly if it's a gift, or I don't know, if you were selling the items, or if perhaps it was at a school fair or a church fair or something, not really a churchy thing, is it? Wherever you were selling your goods, you don't want them coming undone. So make sure you fasten off nicely. I'm not going to do all that today because you don't want to watch me fastening all the bits off. I'm just going to push them inside. Also makes it easier for you to do the final bit of work. Just a few more stitches and we can say the main structuring is done, and all that is going to be left is a little bit of embroidery. It's not fancy embroidery, they're just straight stitches, nothing exciting. There's some bog standard stitching in there. Right, last one, slip stitch. Ta-da! I'm just going to risk cutting that because I'm pretty sure it fits because of the other one that I've done. So I'll take the stitch marker out, I don't want that, and let's stretch it over. I'm pretty pleased with that. Yep, that's okay. If you choose to make it a bit longer, you can do, entirely up to you. Now, one little thing I did on this one is, can you see this little detail here? It's nothing exciting, it's just a little sort of white line across, but it sort of just gives it that sort of impression, a little bit more of an eyeball. So again, I use the glittery. We will cut a little bit off. I will do that bit and I will show you a little bit of what I did round the edges. In a perfect world, as I say, you would have sewn all your ends in before you get to this point, so they're not going to get in the way. I just like to make my life difficult and make sure they do get in the way. Right, now for me, I'm going to take this in here. I don't want knots, so I need to decide roughly. I'm going to sort of do it there on the other side. So here, I'm just going to do this, which looks a little odd, I know. But by doing this, all I've done is take the yarn through and I'm going to tie a knot. 1, 2. Then that end I'm going to thread in down like I would any other. Rather than just a lumpy knot sticking out, that means that's not going to go anywhere now. And then I'm just going to carefully thread it through approximately, I'll take it in there, we'll take it in there, as I say, get rid of all the bits, it makes life easier. And I'm going to take it through 1, and I'm going to do 2. 1 could be enough. I guess it's very hard to hold when you've got all these bits and bobs hanging around. What am I doing? Let me get in there. So I've just gone back through the same hole really, and we push it through. Again, I'm not going to fasten it off, but you will then need to obviously tie a little knot and thread it through, but it just gives that sort of little bit more of an eyeball effect, doesn't it? Now, going back to these edge pieces, originally I had decided to leave a really long piece here and do it from that. It didn't work because I was trying to handle so much yarn because I didn't want to have to stop anywhere. So I decided it was best to cut a very long piece of yarn, because ideally the less you have to stop and start, the better. And you see what I did with my white, where I sort of like pushed it through and tied it. It gives you an extra end to sew in, I know, but I'm going to do that. So I'll do it here where we started, so you can see what I'm doing. So I've took it out of my needle now, and I'm going to tie it. So you can do it however you choose. This is just a method I use. So it's an extra end to sew in, but it's better than having an actual knot. That is what I don't want, a knot. So I'll thread the other end and pull it through. So it's quite a bit of a long piece of thread to handle, which is a bit of a pain. You would have been nice and neat and organised and sewn that in, so that would not have got in your way. And we are going to choose where I am going. I'm going to start at the top of that one there. And all I'm doing, if you have a look at how I've done it here, they're just random shapes. Can you see that's just 1, 2 and 2 little ones, the sort of 2 coming out the same one that's gone on a funny angle. I think the angles work, so it's almost like a zigzaggy effect. So if I just do my first one, where shall we go? I've only really gone up 2 stitches, because if you go up too high it makes it a loose stitch. So I'm going to go up 2, and then I'm just going to take across 1. Just make them up, they're just random. Back out that one, and we'll take it up there, and then I'm going to go across and down. Now, so that's just a general shape. Now I know you can't help but see some of this, you don't have a choice, but if some of it you can do, you can thread through back down to the bottom. There's way too much bits of thread here, it's a bit off-putting, I shouldn't have done that, should have done it separate. And then I will move along to maybe, move that there, I'll just thread it through a few, through. If you can thread them through, it's great, because you can't see the stitches, but if you can't, well, sometimes you can't, you just don't have a choice. I hope this is making sense, because I'm making a bit of a mess. Right, so I've moved that along, don't pull it too tight, make sure it sits nice and loose, and then I can go off again. So I've gone on a slight angle this time, and then again. I'm just making them up as I go. I'm just going to pull that one through. So that's another one that I've done there, and you would just continue to do that on approximately even sort of positioning. So I've just sort of, I don't know, maybe about 5 stitches, maybe there's a 6th there, but just approximate, because it's meant to be a little bit random. So you can have a go at however you want. If you're better at surface embroidery on your crochet, have a go at that, entirely up to you, but that gives you just a rough idea of where we're working from. So I'll pop that back on there. That's the original one that we did. This one's looking cool. I'll get this one finished as well. I might pop a couple of these on my site, because I think they are a little bit of fun for those guys who don't crochet, because they might fancy getting one. So please leave me a comment, please like, subscribe and share, and hopefully you'll enjoy making these funny little sort of trick-or-treat gifts, and we'll be looking at some Christmas ones very soon as well. So thank you very much for watching. We're on 42 minutes, that's not too bad at all, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.